Welcome to Coaching Uncut, a special series on the Unstoppable Woman podcast, where I take you behind the scenes and give you a peek into the private coaching I do with my clients. All of these coaching calls have been recorded with the permission from my clients who have generously allowed me to share these with you as a way of helping more people in this world. They give you access to master level coaching and the opportunity to learn the lessons that they're learning right along with them. Please keep in mind that these recordings are not studio productions and the audio quality may be less than ideal, but the content will take you far and help you become unstoppable. With that, listen in and learn. Do you ever have sales uncertainty? That feeling of being uncertain in sales, not knowing if you should make an offer to someone, unsure if you can help them, or even if you should have a conversation with them. In this episode of Coaching Uncut, my client finds herself in the story again and again, asking herself, what do they need me for? This is a self-image and self-worth issue. She knows what tactical actions she needs to take in order to get out of her own self-worth issue. However, she finds herself not actually taking those actions. Listen in to this episode as I coach her through her uncertainty and her self-worth in sales. Okay, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Excellent.
Among other steps, I'm continuing. I have to congratulate myself for consistency. Not all the way there, but it's getting better. Been making at least 5 new reach outs every day. I have a woman who, the weirdest thing, I interviewed her for a job, not on my team, but like as a peer, wanted me to interview her at my old company. We really hit it off. She started the Monday after I left. Anyway, we followed up and we had this great call last week and she's like, I really want to hire you.
Did you say, okay, let's do it?
Well, yeah, so I say this and I'm like waiting for you to be like, but you should have done da-da-da. But I said, well, this is like at the end of an hour-long, conversation about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And I said, well, absolutely. And I was like, why don't we set up some separate time to talk about what that would look like.
Okay, so you know what your mistake is already, correct? The line broke up there, but yeah, you should have absolutely just been like, okay, well, let's talk about it.
Yeah. Even though we were like, she had to go to another work meeting and we didn't have much time left.
Yeah. I mean, what, did she have 30 seconds left or did she have 10 minutes left?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know the details of that.
Yeah.
But she just moved forward towards you and you went the opposite direction.
I know. What is wrong with me?
I don't know. What's wrong with you?
I don't know. Anyway.
Well, wait, hold on.
Go ahead.
So we don't want to frame it as what's wrong with you, but we do want to acknowledge that you did something and pause just now, time travel back to that moment.
Right.
What was going on inside of you? What was the thought that caused you to say, well, let's think about that and maybe in next week or next month, right? The la-di-da on that.
Yeah. You can't see me, but I'm in the thinking back to it.
You're in the thinker pose?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm modified right now where my eyes are in the back of my head. I know there's more to it than this because there always is, but what comes up for me first is like, it's almost like I'm rigidly adhering to a certain script, if you will, or like how this has to go, like, we need to have a separate, conversation.
Before you go into analysis, that's a decent analysis, okay?
Right.
What was the thought in that moment?
Yeah, the other thing that comes up is, this woman who I'm talking to seems so amazing. What does she need me for?
there we are. The truth comes out.
I mean,
Okay?
I think that is what it was, even though it was subconscious kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So now you have to put in a if-then response. If someone moves towards me, I move towards them. Period, full stop, doesn't matter what I think about them. They could be the CEO of Fidelity, okay, who's like, Courtney, you're looking at things so differently than me. And she's like a billionaire. Who cares? Okay?
Right.
Who cares? If she's moving towards you or he's moving towards you, you say yes.
Right.
Now, that doesn't mean that you work with every single person. There are toxic people out there that you don't want to work with and all sorts of reasons why you wouldn't, right? But fundamentally, you need to have the stimulus response.
Yeah.
If they move towards me, I move towards them.
Yeah.
Not away. And even if you're unsure, you still move towards them. You can say no later. Okay? Like in this case, you might think, well, is it a breach of confidence, right? Like I used to work with them, whatever.
No.
And I know you don't have that with this, but there's some version of that, okay? I'm trying to come up with another example where you might think, oh, this might not work for X, Y, and Z reason, okay? You still move forward until you validate it one way or another, okay? People are often saying to me, like, can I work with my friends? Can I work with my family?
Yeah.
And you need to move forward towards that and ask the question of, if I did do that, how would it need to look, right?
Yeah.
I've worked with a lot of friends. I consider you a friend now. Okay? Right?
Yeah, totally.
And I've worked with friends who started as friends, and I have, you know, my cousins in my mastermind now, right?
Yes.
And that's family.
Yeah.
There's a time where it works and a time where it doesn't work, and you have to be clear, and you have to know what your boundaries are, and you have to know how you're going to show up, and all of those things matter. You can't do it without clarity.
Right.
But your gut response, your immediate response, and it won't be gut because we're changing a pattern, but your immediate response needs to be, when someone moves forward towards me, I move towards them now, not later, but now, immediately. Okay.
By the way, she and I are following up. She scheduled time with me, not to negate everything you said, which I agree with 1,000%. But it's like the next test of this. So in my reach out from, I don't know, yesterday, a couple of days ago, a different woman that I used to work with, not on my team or anything, but she went to another company. Anyway, had reached out to her, as I have others on LinkedIn, you know, telling her about what I'm doing and, you know, asking her how things were going for her at her new gig and inviting her, you know, asking for referrals and like, would love to catch up, you know, blah, blah, blah. And also invited her to my free Facebook group. Anyway, so she, you know, wrote back, we had a couple of exchanges. And this morning she writes back saying she'd love to join my group. She already has, learn what areas you focus on. You know, one of her key long-term goals is to position herself for a board. And then she says some more about that. And then she goes on to explain that there's been this massive restructure at B of A where she is, and she's no longer there. She's seeking her next career move. Look forward to joining you in your discussions when you have them, whatever that means. So I can easily write back to her and be like, hey, you know, why don't we get on a call and catch up, blah, blah, blah. In my head, I'm like, well, I don't know. Can I really help her to find another job? This whole thing about getting on a board, what do I know about that? Like, la, 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 la. And I know what you're going to say, but my point of bringing it up is not like, what should I do tactically? It's more the head piece around, here's another example. No, she's not screaming, I want to work with you, but she clearly needs some help.
She actually is screaming, I want to work with you. Okay?
Really?
She is.
Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I would email her back or text her, depending on, you know, like if you have her cell phone number, I'd text her and say, hey, just got your email. Do you have a couple minutes to jump on a call? I'd love to help you think through this. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it really is helping her think through this.
Totally.
Okay?
Yeah.
And then you segue into all of this. But
Right.
there's two things that you need to look at here. One is you're already in the story. So
I know. Yeah.
Figuring out what the story is that you're saying now, how can I help her? Okay. And then the story that comes up later based on past experience with you and other clients is going to be like, well, she's going to say she doesn't have enough money because she's not working right now. Okay?
Yeah.
So what's the truth on that? So you have to get clear about where you're going to go off the rails, where you're going to fall into story.
Yeah.
And what the truth is. Because the truth is she needs to work with you now, not later. This is going to set her up for success. This is going to help her negotiate a better job and a better package and all of that. So 2 more things on this. One is your challenge with sales right now is certainty.
Yes. My own.
Your own. Your confidence in yourself.
Yeah. Which fluctuates.
But
it's too often in the negative place.
Yeah, and especially when like a new situation comes up.
Yes.
So here's the thing. Do I know how to run an HR department?
No.
No. Do I know how to coach you into being a better leader and stepping forward? Right. Okay. Yeah. I had 0 experience running an HR department, but you went from 4 employees to 400 or something like that, right? Like some crazy thing. Okay. Yeah. Now, can I take credit for all that? Absolutely not. I don't want you to think that I am. But like the challenges that you were facing, I know how to coach you through.
Right.
Okay.
And PPS, this is the same thing in my challenge, meaning I'm not trying to go down a rabbit hole, but I'm just saying it's more about self-worth, trust in self. Yes, there are tactical actions that need to be taken. Yes, you were good at coaching. You are and were good at coaching on those tactical actions or what they might be. But you and I both know the even bigger thing is, well, why am I not taking the actions I know I need to take?
Do you think that's any different with anyone else?
No, I know the answer intellectually. I think on some level I waver on that because I go back to my head, which is like somehow I'm the only one who's like second flawed. Yeah.
Stop that. And here's the thing. You will never prove it to yourself if you never do it.
Right.
Period.
Oh, I know.
So another stimulus response, and these needs to be freaking Post-it notes everywhere. Like every time you're on a call, you need to be looking at it. Okay?
Right.
I can help them. They need help. I can solve that problem. Now, if they're saying my knee, I need to go to a physical therapist, my knee is up, you're not going to offer your help. Okay? But anyone with a career issue or a life issue, you're going to say, I can help. If they're suicidal, you're going to send them to a therapist.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
But aside from that, you're going to say, I can help you.
Right. Can I just ask you, it doesn't matter, I'm just curious, did you ever have this like doubt about whether you could have really helped someone but you made yourself do it anyway? Or that was not your issue?
I have other issues.
Yeah.
But let me pause there for a second.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had it recently in the mastermind I'm in. You know, there are, people who are making, 50 times as much as I make, right? High revenue businesses.
Right.
And I think, who am I to give them advice? That's ridiculous. And then I think, okay, well, I'm in this mastermind and this is what I can contribute. I'm not going to just take, I'm also going to give.
Right.
So here's what I have to give. And guess what? It helps. So I had to prove myself wrong. Was it slightly terrifying? Yeah. Right. I was like, who am I to do this? That's kind of a coaching experience. It's not we're in a mastermind together, so it's not a And I'm not, I mean, there's someone who I'm paying.
They didn't hire you.
Mastermind.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So these are my colleagues in the mastermind.
Right.
But you have to do it anyway. You have to face that discomfort.
Right.
And do it anyway. I'm very clear that I don't sign people up that I don't think I can actually help. But in the beginning, you have to say yes. If you say yes to someone and you end up not being able to help them, like they just have an issue that you're not suited to handle, okay?
Right.
Then you end that coaching relationship.
Yeah. Right.
But
what's
you
the
won't.
Worst case scenario.
Correct. But you won't know until you go do it, okay?
Totally right. I think the other thing that gets in my head is, oh, is this an act of desperation on my part? Like, I'll work with, I can do anything for anyone because I just need to generate.
It's not. Nope. Stop. Yeah.
I know.
This is your ideal freaking client is what it is.
Yeah. I knew you would say that. I'm being honest. I'm sharing it
Yeah,
all.
no, I appreciate it.
Keep
okay.
going.
I
will follow up. All right. Go.
Okay. Bye. Let me know how it goes. Okay.
I will.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for joining us for Coaching Uncut. If you loved what you learned today, please leave us a comment and let us know. We always love a thumbs up or a 5-star review, so thank you in advance for that. And if you want to take your life and your business to the next level and it's time to scale, please reach out to us and schedule a consult at theunstoppablewoman.com/next level. So that's theunstoppablewoman.com/next level. See you in the next episode. Rock it out and be unstoppable.